Kai Mercer had never imagined that today would change his life forever. He walked through the crowded intergalactic auction hall, his heart pounding with excitement and a hint of nervousness. Banners of distant planets fluttered above, each one promising rare treasures, old artifacts, and ships from corners of the galaxy he had only dreamed about. The air was thick with the smell of exotic spices and the faint hum of hovering drones. Announcing the next item for bid, Kai's eyes darted from one object to another, but his attention was caught by a small, unassuming spaceship parked at the far end of the hall. Its metallic surface was scratched and dull. Unlike the shiny, high-tech models surrounding it, the ship looked abandoned, almost forgotten. Yet there was something about it that made Kai pause, something that whispered secrets he could not yet understand. A crowd had gathered around it, but there was little excitement. Some bidders sneered, thinking it worthless. Others ignored it completely, and the auctioneer barely mentioned it. "Next up," the auctioneer said, his voice echoing across the hall. "A one-of-a-kind vessel. Size medium, minimal description, starting bid. 10,000 credits." A murmur passed through the crowd. Many raising eyebrows at the low price. Kai felt a strange thrill. The price was shockingly low for any spaceship, especially one that seemed to carry history. He leaned closer, inspecting the ship through the crowd, noticing small signs of life: an empty cup, a folded blanket, a strange shimmer near the control panel. "Is it occupied?" Kai whispered to himself, but before he could think more, the auctioneer's hammer came down. "Who will start the bidding?" Kai hesitated for a moment, scanning the room, sensing the eyes of experienced bidders on him, calculating, wondering if this could be a trap. But something deep inside told him this ship was more than it appeared. Without fully understanding why, he raised his paddle. 10,000 credits. The auctioneer smiled, clearly surprised. "Do I hear 15? The bid went up quickly, other bidders intrigued by Kai's sudden move. And within moments the numbers climbed higher. Yet Kai remained calm, determined, and finally, after tense minutes, the hammer came down on him. Signaling victory, Kai had won the ship. But his excitement was mixed with unease. He walked toward the vessel, the crowd parting around him like a river, and for a moment, he imagined the adventures that awaited, flying among the stars, discovering new worlds, meeting unknown civilizations. Yet a small voice in his mind whispered caution. There was something unusual here, something not explained by the auction listing. The ship's entrance was slightly ajar, and as he approached, he could hear a faint sound, almost like breathing. But it stopped whenever he looked directly at the doorway. "Hello?" Kai called softly, his voice trembling slightly. "Is anyone there?" No answer came, only the creak of the ship adjusting to his weight on the ramp. He stepped inside, the interior dimly lit by soft, blue lights that flickered like tiny stars. The walls were lined with strange instruments, some clearly alien in design, and yet functional. The floor was spotless, but a faint trail of dust suggested someone or something had been living here. Kai's curiosity grew, mixed with a growing sense of suspense. He reached for a panel and pressed a button, and suddenly a small compartment opened, revealing a neatly folded blanket, a few personal items, and a small tablet displaying a message in a language he could not read. Kai froze, the hairs on his neck standing. He realized this ship was not empty. Someone had been living here, hiding or perhaps waiting. His mind raced with questions. Why was it up for auction if someone lived inside? Who was this person and what were they hiding? Could it be dangerous? The thrill of adventure surged through him, but so did the fear of the unknown. Kai took a deep breath, telling himself he was prepared for anything. He moved further into the cabin, noticing strange reflections in the metal walls, shadows that seemed too deliberate to be natural. Every sound, the hum of the engines, the soft flicker of the lights, felt amplified, like the ship itself was alive, watching him. Suddenly, a noise echoed from the back of the ship, soft but deliberate, like a footstep on metal. Kai froze, his hand hovering over his communicator, ready to call for help, but curiosity overpowered fear. He crept forward slowly, each step measured, listening, straining to hear more. The back door of the control room slid open with a whisper, and a figure appeared, tall and slender, with shimmering skin that reflected the dim lights. Eyes the color of deep amethyst stared at him. Wide with shock and caution, Kai's heart skipped a beat. He had expected an abandoned ship, maybe a stray robot, never a living, breathing alien woman. Neither of them spoke at first. The silence thick with tension. Curiosity, fear, and wonder battled within Kai. while the alien woman's eyes darted between him and the door. Unsure if he was friend or foe, the auction had promised him a ship, but he had won something far more unexpected, something that could change his life forever. Kai took a slow step forward, holding up his hands in peace. I'm not here to hurt you, he said gently. His voice shaking slightly, the alien woman studied him. Suspicion mingled with relief, and for the first time she spoke, her voice melodic but cautious. Why are you here? Kai swallowed hard and realized in that instant that this auction had not been ordinary. This was no simple purchase, no ordinary prize. He had unknowingly stepped into a story that had already begun, and he had no idea how it would end. Kai Mercer stood frozen for a moment, his eyes locked on the alien woman, her shimmering skin reflecting the dim lights of the spaceship's interior. He felt a strange mix of fear, wonder, and excitement. He had expected a quiet, abandoned ship, not a living being hiding inside. Yet curiosity pushed him forward, and he took another careful step. I just bought this ship, he said softly, trying to sound calm. I didn't know anyone was here. The alien woman's amethyst eyes narrowed, a flicker of suspicion passing over her face. She remained silent, her gaze sharp but not hostile. The ship itself seemed alive with secrets. Every corner hid something unusual. Glowing panels flickered faintly, displaying alien symbols and moving diagrams. The walls were smooth, metallic, and oddly warm. As if the ship adjusted itself to the presence of its occupant, Kai's hand hovered over one of the panels, and with a nervous press, a small screen activated showing logs of travel, coordinates of distant stars, and strange symbols he could not understand. This ship, he murmured, it's more advanced than anything I've ever seen. The alien woman's lips twitched into the faintest smile. As if amused by his fascination, Kai began exploring the ship room by room. Careful not to alarm her, each chamber revealed more mysteries, a mix of alien technology and personal belongings. A small living area had neatly arranged cushions, a table with unreadable books, and a tiny kitchen that smelled faintly of herbs and spices. He noticed a doorway slightly ajar leading to what appeared to be a bedroom. The air smelled faintly sweet, and soft lights reflected off a crystalline structure near the bed. Kai hesitated, unsure if he should enter, but the alien woman motioned for him to come closer, her gesture hesitant but inviting. Inside the bedroom, Kai found a small tablet resting on the bed. Glowing softly, he picked it up, scanning its contents, and realized it contained messages. Images and star charts. Most were unintelligible, but a few showed her traveling alone, visiting planets, avoiding patrols, and occasionally resting in hidden areas. You've been traveling alone? Kai asked, his voice quiet. The alien woman nodded, her expression sad and distant. I have nowhere else to go, she said, her voice trembling slightly. This ship is my home. Kai felt a surge of empathy. Her loneliness mirrored the isolation he had sometimes felt among humans. As they moved back into the main cabin, the alien woman cautiously showed him the control panel, guiding his hands over the sleek interfaces. This ship is alive, she explained, her voice gaining strength. It reacts to me, helps me, protects me. Kai marveled at the complexity, the way the ship seemed almost sentient. He realized the auction had hidden more than just an abandoned vessel. It had hidden a living world, a companion, and a story waiting to unfold. Hours passed as Kai learned to navigate the ship's systems under her guidance. His fingers brushed hers once or twice, each time sending a small shiver through him. Neither spoke of it, yet a silent connection began to grow. A sense of partnership emerged, not forced but natural, like two explorers discovering something incredible together. You've kept this ship hidden for years, Kai said finally. No one knew it existed? The alien woman's eyes darkened, a shadow of fear crossing her face. Some knew, she whispered. Enemies. Others who would take it from me. I have survived because I trusted no one. Kai's admiration grew, not just for her courage, but for her cleverness, her ability to survive alone. To manage a spaceship beyond his understanding impressed him deeply. He realized she was not just a hidden passenger. She was a hero of her own story, a protector of secrets in life. His mind raced with questions about her past, the dangers she had faced, and the possibilities of traveling together. Suddenly, a soft alarm echoed through the ship. Barely audible, yet it made both of them freeze. Their eyes met, wide with alertness. The alien woman ran to the control panel, her fingers flying over symbols. The ship responded instantly, doors sealing, lights dimming, and a low hum vibrating through the floor. Kai watched, amazed. As she worked in perfect harmony with the vessel, a dance of trust and skill. "Someone is nearby," she said quietly. "They have been tracking me, searching for this ship." Panic mixed with determination in her voice. Kai realized that winning this auction had drawn him into something far bigger than he imagined. The ship was not just a prize, it was a sanctuary, a target, and now a battleground. He clenched his fists, feeling a spark of resolve. "Then we face them together," he said, surprising even himself with his confidence. The alien woman studied him for a long moment, then nodded, a mixture of relief and caution in her expression. As night fell outside the auction city, the spaceship floated quietly in its hidden dock. Two strangers now bound by fate and curiosity. Neither fully understood what lay ahead, but both knew that their lives had changed forever. The secrets within the ship were no longer hers alone, and the human who had won her home was becoming something unexpected, a companion, a protector, maybe even more. The hum of the engines, the flicker of lights, and the silent whispers of the ship itself promised adventure, danger, and discovery. Kai felt it deep in his chest, the thrill of unknown worlds, the weight of responsibility, and the stirring of emotions he could not yet name. This was no longer just a story of a spaceship. It was a story of trust, courage, and the beginning of something extraordinary. Kai Mercer could feel the tension in the air, the quiet hum of the ship filling the silence between them. The alien woman's amethyst eyes studied him carefully, measuring, assessing, unsure whether he was a friend or a threat. "I need to know your name," Kai said gently, trying to sound calm. "I'm Kai Mercer." He extended a hand. A human gesture of trust. The alien woman hesitated, her gaze flicking to his hand, then back to his eyes. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft but cautious. "I am Liara," she said, the name rolling off her tongue like a melody from a distant star. Kai lowered his hand slightly, smiling faintly. "Liara, I'm glad to meet you." He could sense the fear lingering in her words, but also a spark of curiosity. Liara's shoulders relaxed ever so slightly, and for the first time, she allowed a small smile to form. "You are different," she said, her voice tinged with wonder. "Most humans would have panicked or run." Kai chuckled softly, the sound echoing through the ship. "I guess I'm lucky then," he said, though inside he felt a surge of adrenaline. Every instinct in him screamed that this encounter was more than chance. Kai began exploring the ship more openly, Liara following him at a cautious distance. Her movements were graceful yet alert, as if every corner of the ship held secrets she could not fully trust anyone with. "This ship, it's amazing," Kai said, running his fingers over a smooth console. "I've never seen anything like it," Liara nodded, a hint of pride in her expression. "It is my home," she said, "and my sanctuary." Kai sensed the weight of her words, the years of solitude, of hiding, and surviving alone. His admiration for her grew, not just for her skill with the ship, but for her courage. Liara led him to a small observation deck, where the stars outside stretched endlessly, sparkling like scattered gems. "I have traveled far," she said quietly, her gaze distant. "I've seen worlds humans would not believe exist." Kai felt his heart pound, imagining the stories she could tell, the dangers she had faced alone. "Why were you hiding here?" he asked, trying not to sound too intrusive. Liara glanced at him, her eyes reflecting the starry expanse outside. "Enemies," she said simply. "They wanted this ship. They wanted me. I had no choice." Kai's mind raced, realizing the depth of what he had stumbled into. Winning the auction had not just given him a ship. It had placed him in a living story full of danger, mystery, and someone who needed protection. "Then I'll help you," he said firmly, his voice steady. "I don't know what's coming, but I won't let anything happen to you." Liara studied him, suspicion mingling with hope, and for a moment, she seemed unsure whether to trust him. Finally, she nodded, a silent agreement passing between them, a fragile bond forming as they continued through the ship. Liara showed him hidden compartments and secret pathways, explaining the ship's defensive systems and escape routes. Kai watched, amazed at her knowledge, the way she moved seamlessly, a blend of grace and precision. "You've been living here alone?" he asked, astonished at her independence. Liara's expression darkened slightly. "Yes," she admitted, "years of solitude. running from those who would harm me. Her voice held a trace of sadness, a reminder that despite her strength, she carried memories of fear and loss. Kai felt a surge of empathy, understanding the loneliness she must have endured. "You don't have to be alone anymore," he said softly. "I'm here now." Liara looked at him, searching for sincerity, and in that moment she saw it. The human courage, the kindness, and the willingness to face danger without hesitation. The silence between them was comfortable now, a shared understanding forming without words. Suddenly the ship shuddered lightly, a subtle vibration that caught their attention. Liara's ears twitched and her eyes narrowed. "They are near," she whispered, her voice sharp with urgency. "The ones who hunted me, they are close." Kai's heart raced, realizing the adventure had only just begun. "Then we prepare," he said, determination steady in his voice. The human and the alien, so different yet now bound by circumstance, worked together, checking systems, sealing doors, and preparing for whatever threat approached. As the stars outside twinkled indifferently, Kai and Liara shared a moment of silent connection. Two strangers thrown together by fate, learning to trust, to understand, and to rely on each other. This was more than a meeting, more than an encounter. It was the beginning of a partnership, one that could change both of their lives forever. And as the first hint of danger approached, the thrill of the unknown, the bond of trust, and the promise of adventure stretched before them. Kai realized that winning this auction had given him far more than a ship. It had given him a story, a mystery, and a chance to be part of something extraordinary. Something worth fighting for, something worth discovering together. Kai Mercer watched Liara move through the spaceship with confidence, her hands brushing over consoles and panels as if the ship were an extension of her own body. He felt a mixture of awe and curiosity, realizing that the woman he had just met was far more capable than he had imagined. "You've done all of this alone?" he asked, his voice quiet. "All these years?" Liara glanced at him, her amethyst eyes softening slightly. "I had no choice," she said, her tone steady but tinged with sadness. "I had to survive." Kai nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "But now you don't have to be alone," he said gently. "I'm here and I want to help." Liara studied him carefully, her gaze searching for any hint of deception. But she found none, only sincerity, courage, and the human determination that fascinated her. Slowly she nodded, a small gesture, but one that meant more than words, a beginning of trust. They moved to the main control room, and Kai began learning the ship's systems under Liara's guidance. Each panel, each glowing button seemed alive. Responding to her touch with precision and grace, Kai followed her instructions, mimicking her movements yet often fumbling. "You are faster than I imagined," he admitted. "But you also teach well." Liara gave a small smile, the first genuine one Kai had seen. "You have a human way of seeing things," she said. "Sometimes simple, sometimes reckless, but effective." As the hours passed, they shared stories of their past. Carefully, cautiously, Kai spoke of his life on Earth, the ordinary world he had left behind, the longing for adventure, and the fascination with the stars. Liara listened, curiosity growing in her eyes. Then it was her turn, and she spoke of distant planets, hidden colonies, and the dangers that had forced her into hiding. Her voice carried both fear and strength, and Kai felt the weight of every word, the loneliness, and the courage that had kept her alive. "You've been so brave," Kai said quietly, awe in his voice. "I can't imagine living like that. Alone, always running, always hiding." Liara's lips twitched, almost a smile. "Bravery is not always what humans think," she said. "Sometimes it is simply surviving, choosing to live even when fear is all around you." Kai nodded, understanding deeper than words could express. Her life had been a series of challenges, and yet she had endured, guided by intelligence, skill, and courage. The ship hummed around them, alive and responsive, and Kai realized it mirrored Liara herself, strong, independent, yet capable of growth and adaptation. Together, they ran simulations of potential threats, tested escape routes, and checked communication systems. Each task strengthened their connection, a silent partnership forming, built on trust, mutual respect, and shared responsibility. Kai found himself watching her closely, noticing the subtle grace of her movements, the way her eyes flicked over every panel with precision, and the tiny signs of vulnerability she allowed only when she thought no one was looking. Liara began to open up more, showing him hidden compartments and personal items, the things she had kept private for years. A small collection of alien artifacts, a few personal trinkets, and a tiny holographic garden that reflected distant stars. Kai marveled at her ingenuity, the way she had combined technology and comfort to survive in isolation. "You've created a world here," he said softly. "A world just for you." Liara nodded, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. "It is all I have," she admitted, "and now, perhaps we can share it." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert on the control panel. A soft, urgent beep. Liara's eyes widened, and she moved quickly, checking sensors and scanning the surrounding space. "They are close," she said quietly, tension sharpening her features. "Those who hunted me. They have found the signal." Kai felt a surge of adrenaline, understanding that their newfound trust would soon be tested. "Then we face them together," he said, his voice steady, determination clear. Liara glanced at him, a mixture of relief and caution in her gaze, and for the first time, she seemed to feel that she was not alone in the danger. Together they activated defensive protocols, locked down compartments, and prepared the ship for potential intrusion. Every action felt synchronized like a dance, Kai learning from Liara trusting Kai to act with courage and intelligence. Their bond deepened in the shared moments of preparation and anticipation. Each glance, each word, each movement strengthened the trust that had begun to form between them. As the stars outside twinkled silently, the ship ready and waiting, Kai realized that he had entered a world far beyond anything he had imagined. It was no longer just a mission or an adventure. It was a journey with someone who had survived unimaginable challenges, someone who had endured alone and was now willing to trust. And Kai knew that this was only the beginning. The real test of courage, trust, and partnership had yet to come, and together they would face it side by side. Kai Mercer gripped the console, his eyes scanning the glowing radar screens. The soft hum of the spaceship seemed louder now, like a heartbeat warning of what was coming. Liara stood beside him, her amethyst eyes sharp, every muscle in her body tense. "They are here," she whispered, her voice calm but urgent. "Pirates or bounty hunters. They know this ship is valuable." Kai swallowed, feeling the weight of the situation. He had dreamed of adventure among the stars, but he had never imagined danger would arrive so soon. The sensors beeped again, a warning of approaching vessels, sleek and menacing, their shapes blinking red against the black void of space. Liara's hands moved over the controls with practiced ease, activating shields, closing compartments, and initiating defensive protocols. "This ship is not just a home," she said quietly. "It is a fortress if you know how to use it." Kai nodded, determination surging through him. "Then let's use it," he said, trying to match her calm focus. The first attack came as a flash of light outside, a laser beam grazing the hull with a deafening hiss. Kai ducked instinctively, his heart racing. Liara's voice rang out, precise and commanding. "Return fire. Activate the defense drones." The ship responded instantly, small drones launching from hidden panels, zipping through space like metallic swarms, targeting the incoming attackers with precision. Kai watched in awe, realizing how alive the ship truly was, its systems almost anticipating their moves. One of the pirate ships closed in, firing again, and Kai felt a surge of fear, but he also felt something else, a courage rising from deep inside. He pressed the emergency override button as Liara had instructed, redirecting power to the shields. The energy pulse rippled through the hull, holding the attackers at bay. Liara glanced at him, her eyes meeting his, a flash of approval in her gaze. "You are faster to learn than I thought," she said, a hint of a smile breaking the tension. The battle intensified, flashes of light and explosions painting the stars outside. Kai and Liara moved as one, two strangers now united by trust and necessity. The alien woman guided him with calm precision, while Kai contributed his human ingenuity, finding angles and tactics that surprised even her. One pirate ship moved too close, and Kai seized the moment. Using a maneuver he had improvised, guiding the ship in a sudden spin that sent the attacker spinning into space debris. Liara's eyes widened in astonishment. "Clever," she said, her voice soft but filled with respect. As the last pirate ship retreated, damaged and defeated, the hum of the spaceship settled back into its usual rhythm. The two of them stood side by side, breathing heavily, the adrenaline of the fight slowly leaving their veins. Kai looked at Liara, seeing her in a new light, not just a survivor but a leader, a warrior, and someone who had trusted him in the heat of battle. Liara's expression softened and she nodded toward him. You have courage, Kai, she said. Not just the courage to fight, but the courage to care, to trust. Kai felt a warmth in his chest, pride and humility mixing together. I learned from you, he said simply. You taught me how to face fear, how to act when it matters most. Liara's eyes flickered with emotion, a mixture of gratitude and something deeper she had not expected to feel. The battle had been more than a fight for survival. It had been a test of their partnership, and they had passed together. After ensuring the ship was secure, Kai and Liara began repairing minor damages, working side by side, their movements fluid and coordinated, a silent understanding passing between them. I never thought I would trust anyone again, Liara said quietly, her hand steady on a control panel. But you're different. Kai smiled faintly, feeling the bond strengthen. Trust is earned, not given, he replied. And I will earn it every day if I have to. The stars outside glimmered as if acknowledging their triumph. Yet the memory of danger lingered, a reminder that the universe was vast and unpredictable. Their victory had been hard-won, but it had proven something important. Humanity's courage, ingenuity, and compassion could match the strength and skill of the most extraordinary alien forces. Kai looked at Liara, and for a moment all fear faded, replaced by awe and respect. We make a good team, he said, the words carrying more meaning than he realized. Liara's lips curved into a small, genuine smile. Yes, she said softly. Perhaps together we can face anything. And as the spaceship glided silently through the stars, the two of them prepared for whatever adventures, dangers, or mysteries awaited them, their partnership stronger than ever. This battle was only the beginning. The galaxy was wide, full of unknowns, but for the first time, Kai felt that he was not just exploring it alone. He had a companion, a guide, and perhaps even a friend or more, someone who could change the meaning of his journey. The spaceship drifted silently through the starry void, the hum of its engines a calm rhythm after the chaos of battle. Kai Mercer sat at the observation deck, staring out at the endless expanse of space, his thoughts a whirl of adrenaline and wonder. Liara joined him quietly, her amethyst eyes reflecting the distant stars. She had been tense and cautious during the fight. But now, in this calm, a different side of her emerged, a side that Kai had not yet seen. You saved me today, Liara said softly, her voice carrying gratitude and something deeper he could not quite name. Kai shook his head, a faint smile on his lips. We saved each other, he said. You taught me how to fight, how to act. How to survive, Liara looked down, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. You are human, she said quietly, and yet you have courage, intelligence, and kindness I have rarely seen. Kai felt his heart swell at her words, realizing how much trust and respect had grown between them in just a short time. They spent hours sharing their stories, not just of battles and survival, but of dreams and fears. Kai told her about his life on Earth, the mundane days he had longed to escape, the longing for something greater among the stars. Liara spoke of her childhood on a distant planet, the loss of her family, and the loneliness that had forced her into hiding. Each story built a bridge between them, turning strangers into companions, companions into friends, and friends into something more. Kai reached out, gently touching her hand, a human gesture he hoped would convey his sincerity. Liara flinched slightly but did not pull away, their fingers intertwined, a silent acknowledgement of trust and connection. I never thought I could feel this again, Liara admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. After years alone, after hiding from everyone, I did not think I could trust anyone. Kai squeezed her hand gently. You can trust me, he said simply. I won't let anything happen to you. For the first time, Liara allowed herself to truly relax, letting go of the fear that had haunted her for years. She leaned slightly against Kai, feeling a warmth she had long forgotten. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating this quiet, profound moment. They talked long into the artificial night, discussing hopes for the future, the planets they wanted to explore, and the adventures they dreamed of sharing. Each word, each glance, built the foundation of a bond neither could ignore. Then, without warning, the ship's sensors detected a faint signal, a trace of movement far away. Liara's expression changed instantly, tension sharpening her features again. They are back, she said quietly, fear mingling with resolve. The ones who hunted me. They will not give up. Kai stood beside her, feeling a surge of determination. Then we face them together, he said firmly. echoing the words he had spoken before, but this time, there was more than courage driving him. There was loyalty, trust, and a growing affection he could not deny. Liara glanced at him, her eyes softening despite the danger. You are different from anyone I have ever met, she said, a note of awe in her voice. Humans, you are capable of so much. Yet you carry heart and compassion alongside strength. Kai smiled faintly. And you, Liara, are more incredible than words can describe, he said. I've learned from you. I've learned courage, patience, and hope. The moment stretched between them, heavy with unspoken emotions, a confession waiting to be voiced. Kai finally spoke, his voice low but earnest. I don't know what will happen out there. But I do know this, I want to face it with you, not just as allies, but as partners. Liara's breath caught, her eyes wide, searching his for truth. Partners? She whispered, the word delicate and unsure. Yes, he said. I trust you, I respect you, and I care for you. Liara's lips curved into a small, genuine smile, a mixture of relief, surprise, and something tender in that quiet moment. The spaceship became more than a vessel of survival. It became a place of connection, a sanctuary for trust, and a stage for the beginning of love. Their hands remained joined, fingers entwined, hearts beating in sync with the hum of the ship, and as they prepared for the approaching threat, they were no longer just human and alien, survivor and fighter. They were a team, united by courage, trust, and an unspoken promise of something extraordinary. The stars outside stretched endlessly, indifferent yet beautiful, a reminder that the universe was vast, full of dangers and wonders alike. But for Kai and Liara, the void no longer felt lonely, no longer felt frightening. It was a world waiting to be explored together, and whatever challenges awaited, they would face them as one. The stars stretched endlessly outside the spaceship, glittering like distant promises. Kai Mercer stood beside Liara at the main control deck, both alert, both ready. The threat of the hunters still loomed, but neither of them felt fear alone. They had faced danger together before, survived, and now their bond was stronger than ever. We need a plan, Liara said, her voice calm but firm. They will try again, and this time they will be smarter. Kai nodded. Determination etched across his face. Then we meet them head-on. Together, the sensors picked up movement, distant shapes creeping closer in the darkness of space. Liara's fingers danced across the console, activating defensive shields and preparing countermeasures. Kai followed her instructions carefully, coordinating with her, feeling a strange pride in his ability to contribute. The two of them moved in perfect synchrony, human ingenuity and alien precision, blending into a seamless partnership. The ship itself seemed alive, responding to them, anticipating their moves as if it too trusted them. As the first hunter ship approached, Liara initiated a sudden maneuver, spinning the spaceship in a tight arc, sending the attackers into confusion. Kai directed the drones, each one striking with calculated precision. Lasers flashed, engines roared, and the void outside was alive with the dance of strategy and courage. The battle was intense, but Kai and Liara's bond held steady, fear replaced by trust and determination. Each move they made was a testament to human ingenuity and the aliens' unmatched skill. One of the attackers broke formation, aiming directly for their ship. Kai shouted a warning. Liara reacted instantly, activating the ship's emergency defense pulse. A wave of energy shot outward, forcing the intruder to veer away. Damaged and retreating, Kai's heart pounded, adrenaline rushing, and in that moment, he realized something important. They were no longer just surviving. They were fighting together, protecting each other, and proving that courage and trust could overcome even the deadliest threats. When the last attacker finally retreated, leaving scorched trails of debris in the darkness, Kai and Liara exhaled together, relief and exhilaration mingling. They had won. But more importantly, they had faced danger as a team. Their partnership, forged through trust, action, and shared courage, had been tested and proven. Liara turned to Kai, her eyes reflecting both admiration and something deeper. You are remarkable, Kai, she said softly. Not just for your bravery, but for your heart. Kai smiled, feeling warmth spread through his chest. And you, Liara, are incredible, stronger than anyone I've ever met. The tension of battle faded, replaced by a quiet peace, and for the first time, the spaceship felt like home, not just to Liara, but to both of them. They walked through the control deck together, hands brushing, fingers intertwining naturally. It was a silent acknowledgement that their journey was now shared. No longer separate paths, but a united one. Kai finally spoke, voice low but steady. "What do we do now?" Liara smiled, her amethyst eyes shining with determination and hope. "We explore," she said simply. "The galaxy is vast, full of worlds and mysteries. Together we can face anything, discover everything, and survive anything that comes our way." Kai felt a thrill, the kind he had always dreamed of, but now it was richer, fuller because he would not be alone. They stepped onto the observation deck, gazing out at the stars, the vast expanse of possibilities stretching before them. Liara leaned slightly against Kai and he felt her warmth, the quiet promise of companionship stronger than any spoken word. "I never thought I would trust anyone like this," she admitted, voice soft. "And now, I can't imagine being without you." Kai squeezed her hand gently. "And I won't let you be alone again," he replied, the sincerity in his words unshakable, as they prepared the ship for a new course, plotting coordinates for distant worlds. The bond between them felt unbreakable. The universe was wide, full of dangers, wonders and unknowns, but together, Kai and Liara were unstoppable. A human and an alien, partners in adventure, allies in survival, and now companions bound by trust, courage, and heart. The spaceship glided forward into the starlit void, leaving behind the threats of the past, and carrying two souls ready to face whatever the galaxy had to offer. Each star they passed, each planet they approached, was a new chapter waiting to be written, and together they would write it, side by side, heart to heart, human and alien, courage and hope intertwined. Their story was no longer just about survival or adventure. It was about connection, trust, and the extraordinary bond that could form when two worlds met in understanding and compassion. And as the first light of a distant sun touched the hull of the spaceship, Kai and Liara shared a quiet, perfect moment, knowing that their journey had only just begun. But for the first time, they faced it not as strangers, not as survivors, but as partners together, ready to explore the endless possibilities of the stars. And the universe, vast and mysterious, seemed to welcome them.